When looking at the poem Annabel Lee, written by Edgar Allan Poe, we want to look at the structure first, which is written in the form of a ballad with varying types of structures. So Poe uses six stanzas in this poem and of varying lengths, going 6 lines, 8 lines, 6 lines, 7 lines, 8 lines. Also, the poem has a rhyme scheme with the repetition of the E sound with words such as see, lee, and me. But this is generally disorganized throughout the poem. This helps understand the meaning in which the speaker is in some form of distress, such as dealing with the loss of a loved one, and the way the rhyme scheme becomes gradually more random, as shown in between stanza 1, where it goes every other line is a rhyme, so it's see, lee, me, versus the fifth stanza and sixth stanza, where there's two rhymes together, we, and then C and Lee are on every other line. It goes to show how it's becoming gradually harder for the speaker to discuss what they're talking about, and this is also enhanced by the repetition of the name Annabel Lee, showing how the structure revolves around the one speaker who has lost something throughout the poem, most likely a loved one named Annabel Lee, as is the namesake of the poem.
The meaning of the poem is about the death of a girl and an endless relationship between the narrator who falls in love with the girl by the name of Annabel Lee. They were greatly in love, as it states in the poem, but we loved with a love that was more than love. Then, as time went on, Annabel Lee was killed, as the winged seraphs of heaven were very jealous of their relationship. After her death, the narrator still loves her very much. Therefore, the meaning of the poem is about death and love.
There are a few symbols used in this poem that further emphasize the meaning of death and love and the narrator's struggle with the loss of his love. The sea is a powerful, unpredictable element of nature. It is a sea wind that Annabel Lee gets the chill that kills her, and the sea in this poem is portrayed as a looming, ominous presence that symbolizes loneliness, coldness, and emptiness. This resembles how the narrator feels towards the loss of his love. The symbol of the kingdom is also used throughout this poem. The lines, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. Knowing the definition of high-born kinsmen, basically powerful, wealthy people from noble parents who think they can do whatever they want, and a sepulchre, which is a room or a monument where dead people are buried in. This helps set an image of the kingdom, which is now a symbol of cruelty and dictatorship. The pairing of the kingdom and the sea is used throughout the poem until the last few stanzas. Together, the two symbols create a force that eventually drove apart the couple, this being the kinsman and the sea. Eventually, the pairing with the sea becomes references to Annabel Lee's tomb. This continues to show the loneliness and depression that the narrator feels.
So I'll be talking about imagery and the use of this. The use of imagery in this poem allows Poe to emphasize the love he has for Annabel Lee. This is done by using different examples of imagery through more natural elements to portray how beautiful and pure his love for her is. And when Poe says, "A wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee," he uses the imagery of describing the wind in the air among the clouds and uses this to over dramatize and describe the hurt the chilling winds has on Annabel Lee, which could also be symbolism for something else. He also uses "all the night tide I lay down by the side of the beautiful Annabel Lee" to exaggerate the time spent together and the nice or the time he spent with Annabel Lee at night. And he also uses "her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me" to dramatize Annabel Lee's potential death, and uses a reference to a real life type of situation where some like kinsman would take her away from him, and he'd just be watching her being taken away, to better describe how he felt as they took her away. And other imagery type things, or like in her tomb by the sounding sea, like to over dramatize that it's a tomb, and in the like in the sounding sea, uh, to better dramatize the effect that uh, she has on him, and the moon never beams to describe the situation and the atmosphere with and how he's feeling.
Based off of the different components of the smile method, more specifically the meaning of the poem, it can be seen how the main theme or effect of the poem is that true love indeed never dies. This is the case because, as seen by the various uses of literary devices, such as one important one, imagery, the couple is greatly in love, but soon after Annabel is killed, and the narrator is left alone. However, he remains in love with her, as it states in the poem, but her love was ever stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And then it goes ahead and also states, and so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and bride, as seen by the visual description. The narrator still loves Annabel even after her death, which shows how true love never dies, because the narrator was in so much love with Annabel that he thought about her and states how he loved her well after she was dead.